Welcome to the Noscript show, where we are both some of the most handsome-looking World War III veterans you've seen this side of the nuclear holocaust. How's it going there, Ron?
No, good, man. Glad to also be a veteran. I've always wanted to be a veteran.
Always wanted to be a veteran.
Yeah, man.
Let's talk about World War III for a second.
I don't have PTSD yet, but we'll see maybe in the next decade. But right now, I'm feeling good about it, man.
Yeah, PTSD. Are we jumping into Twitter trash already?
Oh, dude. I've legit not really been on Twitter much the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe because it's the new year and I've started working and I've just kind of been focusing.
Yeah.
But of course, no one missed World War III. And
because it didn't happen. Actually, you know what, guys? I can tell you why I can. There were so many analysts who were like, "This is World War III for sure. This is World War III for sure." I can tell you how I knew it wasn't going to lead to World War III. Just everybody listening to the show right now, just move up real close to the speaker. I'm going to whisper the secret. It's because nobody was backing up the fucking Iranians. If somebody, let's say the Russians said, well, Trump, just for that, we're going to move more tanks into the area, then I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe there's going to be World War III. Literally no one was backing up the Iranians. Not a single fucking soul. The Iranians in this situation are like this scrawny guy at the bar, starting trouble with a huge guy at the bar, and he's got his own, but the scrawny guy's got his huge friends backing him up. Except his huge friends aren't backing him up. They're busy plowing one of the waitresses around the corner in the bathrooms. He's got nobody backing him up, okay? Seriously.
And, I mean... even the Dems, they tried to make it a little bit like, no, shouldn't have done that, whatever. But Trump has this ability to put the Dems in a very difficult place. And it's either you support him or you supporting terrorists. And he manages to put them in those type of positions all the time. And it's always just hilarious to see how they try and jump around it. Because no one wants to support him, obviously.
Right. It's insane. It was like, what do they say? If somebody said if he cured cancer, they bitch that he was taking jobs away from doctors or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you hate him so much. You hate him so. And by the way, guys, this isn't me saying you can't hate Donnie from Queens. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff he says and does that I vehemently disagree with. Not least of which is plowing a porn star while your wife's pregnant. It's gangster as fuck, but also pretty sleazy. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I think people always get it wrong by just stating the facts. They think you're trying to be a pro-Trumper.
Yeah.
But, if you say something good or something factual about him that someone doesn't like, that doesn't mean you are pro-Trump. And I'm not pro-Trump, but I'm also not, against Trump. So
yeah. When he does bad things, we will say, I mean, for starters, I still think his 1950s protectionism view of the world, economics and trade wars is a dumb thing to do. But maybe that's just my libertarian slant kicking in, but I just think it's a dumb view of world economics. Yeah.
But how dare you? You just said that you just laughed at the Dems for what they just did. You must be pro-Trump then.
Yes, secretly, it's like underneath my white hood, I've got at least 5 MAGA hats stacked up on my head.
Well, I'm going to get a real MAGA hat, just because you need to have one.
On the next
history.
Trip. What, on your next trip abroad, or you can order?
Yeah,
one
I'm going to New York in June.
Are you serious? So am I.
Yeah. Really? When?
Well, at some point, May, June, somewhere there-ish. So,
I leave here on the 4th of June, I believe. Yeah, the 4th of June I leave here, and I return back, I think, the 14th.
Yeah, no, bless, bro. If we can hook up something, then yeah, because I'm due for another annual trip to the States as well, so yeah.
Yeah, so I am going to go to Trump Tower, and I am going to get... Actually, I won't get a Make America Great Again. I'll get the new one, which is...
Keep America Great.
Keep America Great.
I have been to Trump Tower, and I did think the gold-plated escalators were a nice touch. Um, I wonder if it's actual gold, but yeah, I doubt it. But yeah, it was a nice touch, Donnie. He's still Donnie from Queens at the end of the day.
Donnie loves his gold.
Bruh. Speaking of Donnie, have you seen his kid now, bruh? Barron.
Which one?
Barron Trump.
Yeah, what about him?
Like the dude's like 6'5". He's almost like 7 foot tall. He's just a
Oh,
monster.
I'm looking at it right now. Holy crap, that's so weird. He looked like such a baby like a few years ago.
He's grown like 4 feet in like 2 years, bro. This is
Dude, he's like half a head taller than Donald Trump.
bruh. I guarantee you, him and Melania did some sort of. He said, Melania, I want my kid to be the greatest basketball player of all time. Of all time. He's just the best. We're going to give him this in vitro treatment while you're pregnant. It's going to be the best. The absolute best. And Melania is like, okay. And they just pumped that Russian fucking genetic engineering into him. And now it's kicked in. Like that extra $1 billion he paid for Barron is kicking in. Like he's a monster now, dude. Like he's just...
Dude, I can't believe how huge he is. I'm looking at it right now. This is
Dude,
ridiculous.
this kid isn't even 16 yet. He's not even 16 years old.
Okay,
Seriously,
literally,
Google it. How old is he? Wait, how old is he?
He's 13.
There we go. He's 13. That's a 13-year-old boy, bruh.
Dude, what the hell? I'm looking at photos right now. He's literally a head taller than Donald
He's
Trump.
like 2.5 meters tall. It's ridiculous, man.
At 13.
At 13.
And he still needs, what, 8 years to grow?
Bro, think about this. He's a monster.
Wow.
Dude's like a beast tall, huh?
That is nuts. Okay. Well, I learned something new.
He paid an extra $1 million for like genetic engineering in the womb or something.
That's why Trump likes Russia, or that's where the whole Russia conspiracy comes from. He just wanted old Barron to grow up a bit.
Genetic engineering in the womb, bro.
Dude, I swear, you can't even get pants that long. No, really. He looks very weird because his torso looks very short. And he's got like these spider legs. It's weird.
It's genetic engineering in the womb, bro. I'm kidding.
Maybe he got leg extensions.
Some secret shit that you can only pay for if you're super rich. It's like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. RBG, the notorious RBG, has now kicked, the ultimate cancer, the super killer, pancreatic cancer, 3 times. The woman is 93,000 years old, and she's kicked pancreatic cancer 3 times. Now, I'm not a huge fan of conspiracy theories, but when I see shit like Barron Trump sprouting to like 700 feet tall and 93,000-year-old Ruth Bader Ginsburg kicking a cancer that kills athletes in their prime when they're like 21, I'm starting to think maybe some of those super crazy theories about the rich and powerful and important having special medical care that we can't know of is true. Because it's pancreatic cancer, okay?
Yeah, man. And, I mean, if they've got the money, they can do whatever the hell they want. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But, yes, I agree. There's like a private hospital somewhere.
Right, there has to be. There absolutely has to be. Speaking of, and since we're still on Twitter trash and having the money, did you see that tweet about that model who was selling her nudes for like $10 a pop or whatever to donate?
I tried to go look, but then they deleted her account. So
first of all, this is a disgusting shutdown of private enterprise by the government. Honestly, like I'm offended. I don't know about you, Ron, but like. Honest business people are trying to make a living in this world, and
it was for a good cause. I mean,
it's like, okay, fine. You don't want to help the Australian bushfires. Thanks, guys.
That sounds like a Donald Trump move,
bruh. So, yes, it does. So she did raise like $700,000 before she was shut down. Now,
but how much could she have raised?
That's true.
Now
but
we'll
at
never know.
$10 a pop. That means there's a hell of a lot of guys paying for her nudes out there. A hell of a lot.
Which is weird, right? Because you could just get nudes from anywhere for,
Free,
for free.
like
Yeah.
Pornhub is a thing, guys. But
But
look,
I'm pretty sure there's something about, I mean, obviously that stuff's freely available, but there must be something about seeing someone who you've never seen naked, right? Like
yeah,
that you are willing to pay to be like, oh, that's what you look like there. Okay, no, interesting.
I think that, yeah, you're right. Like, cause like you could easily go on like any old porn site, right, and just like look up hot chick does X, whatever with X,
Yeah,
you know. But there's something about seeing some chick on Instagram, or even seeing some chick that you sort of tangentially know, you
yeah.
know, that you've seen now and then, like sort of said hi, how's it to? Something about seeing her naked that puts that extra mile on it. That it's just like, wow.
So I also don't understand how she was selling this. She was selling it over Instagram, right?
How she's actually selling it, I have no idea. But
Because I don't think she was nude on Instagram. So why would they shut her down?
that's the thing. It's like I think they
Maybe
wangled
it's
it
for
with
soliciting or
yeah, with soliciting or yeah. But still, okay. Again, I don't care because again, I'm the kind of libertarian who's like, listen, this is a transaction between two adults. Literally nobody's getting hurt. It's a picture she's willingly selling you, and she's helping the environment. Capitalism is literally saving the environment in that situation, and you still want to shut it down.
yeah, exactly. We are the climate change activists now.
Yeah, like capitalism is literally saving the environment. And you guys are like, nope, nope. So yeah,
It's so weird, dude. It's just so weird. The same people that would promote that kind of thing, or your feminists saying,
yeah,
we should be able to do whatever we
yeah,
want. They're the same ones that are like, oh, we need to save the planet. But then when someone does
100%.
something to save the planet, doing two things that you agree with, then you
Yeah,
cut
I
them
thought
off.
nudity was liberating and all that, and
Yeah,
it's your choice to them. Nope.
it's a strange world, dude. I
But
don't think
then,
we'll ever understand it.
but then Twitter being Twitter, it just hyped it up to that new level, okay? Because Jeff Bezos, because she raised 700,000. Jeff Bezos decided to donate or release through Amazon or whatever $690,000 for the cause, and then some fucking kid, social justice kid, says this asshole only donated money equivalent to like 1 minute of his time or something like that. He could have given so much more. I'm like, he could have given so much less. Fuck you. It's his
Yeah,
money.
you could have done nothing.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants with his money. This is like
And I guarantee you that same person that said that, even if they had 10 extra dollars in their pocket, wouldn't have donated that.
no,
So where's your
no.
donation?
Yeah, where's your donation? Where is your donation? Like, this is my thing. Like, I'm 100% like I know a lot of people think that businessmen dive into giant Scrooge McDuck style piles of money, but you, Run, as a businessman, can probably vouch that that's not what happens. It's damn hard to run a business, and it pisses me off even more when the government, because they track how much money you do, they come in and take their supposed share of your work. And that's how it goes.
This is how screwed up it is. You can be making a very nice profit, right? And you decide, you know what, we as a company are going to donate to one or more organizations. You are limited to how much you're allowed to donate.
What?
Yeah, because if you donate more, then there's a tax implication. So donating nothing also has a tax implication, but donating too much also has a tax implication. So everyone tries to be in that little sweet spot. Because this is obviously, I mean, if you're the government and I'm making 100 million rand profit and I don't need any money and I just give that 100 million rand to an organization, the government's never going to see anything of it, right?
Good. They shouldn't.
Yeah, I agree they shouldn't.
The fuck has the government done to help you build your business, right?
Yeah, it's the same way in saving money. We should,
Yeah.
as a society, be saving money, but the government says, oh, only save up to 350,000 Rand a year, and we're not going to charge you tax on there. But as soon as you go over that, here's the implication.
Fuck. And then
So,
people wonder why people want to root shit off to the islands or invest in crypto or just evade any sort of government intervention in their money as much as possible because of this. Because of this.
yeah, exactly. So there's no incentive to save, which means everyone's in debt. Those who do save, the best way of saving is just putting their money under their bed because
Yeah.
um, it'll still be the same money tomorrow. The only thing is inflation will mean
It's worth
you'll,
less.
it's
That's
worth less.
another reason I hate fucking government currencies because they can always just print more money and make your money worth less.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's a good idea to buy some gold as an investment or silver. Like,
Exactly. For all the ripping that people do on people who buy precious metals and invest in
I've got
crypto
a
or
gold
whatever,
portfolio
like,
that I've been building for the last 6 years.
as do I, because gold is never worth absolutely nothing, and it's pretty
And
hard for the government to mess with its value.
yeah, and not just that, don't get tricked into buying very nice gold coins because there you're paying for the coin, you're not paying for the gold. Like, literally buy gold.
Oh no, my stock is partially in gold. My portfolio is partially in just gold, not actual coins
Yeah,
or anything.
because a lot of people will see a gold coin and think, oh, this is a 10,000 Rand coin, it's going to be worth more tomorrow. Meanwhile, the gold value in that coin is maybe 7,000, and they think this is a precious minted coin, and 20 years from now, they're like, actually, it's worth like 8,000 Rand.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I paid 10,000 for this like 20 years ago. Well, you paid for the coin, you didn't pay for the gold.
yeah.
So that's a
Oh,
lesson to learn.
lesson learned. Lesson learned. Yeah. Um, yeah. I do have one more Twitter trash subject. One or two more Twitter trash subjects. This one's local, actually.
Local is always lacquer, don't they say?
Yeah, and this one's actually related to me, because I basically tweeted out that I'm sick to death of people cherry picking and airbrushing some tiny aspect of apartheid and extrapolating it to imply
Yes.
utopia. It was a
Yes.
police state, and I explained all this shit like it was illegal for some of my family members to marry each other, conscription, all sorts of terrible, terrible shit happened. And in that thread, I also mentioned, FYI, this is not an endorsement of what we have now. It's just pointing out that, apartheid wasn't all, wine and roses, okay? And I tweeted that, got some retweets and likes, and it blew up. And my favorite thing about this whole thing is, well, for starters, the amount of people who clearly didn't read the entire thread because they're like, well, now sucks too. I'm like, yeah, I said now sucks too. And they're like, oh, you clearly hate white people. I'm like, no, just read the whole thread. Like, just read the whole thread. And then my other thing is the people who sort of the social scientists who said, well, my street was clean. I'm like, yeah, okay, because as we know, only horrific police states can make clean streets. Like, they're the only ones capable of like, your street is that made everything worth. Are you serious? I
Yeah.
live in Pretoria East. Like, most of my streets around where I live is clean. Like, I know that
Yeah.
there's some
The
places.
thing is, even if there are aspects that at that time may have been better than now, like let's take clean streets for an example, right?
Mhm.
That is very cherry picking, number one, and that does not excuse all the other shit that happened, right?
Yeah.
That's like saying, so if they make that argument, you could argue, well, actually, South Africa now is better because we have same-sex marriages, and
Yeah.
use that as the only example.
Yeah.
Actually, how our state is now is terrible as well.
Mm.
But because you're cherry picking, I can cherry pick,
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly. I mean, it's like and there was some person. This is the one that actually, because I had some back and forth because people got really stuck on the issue of conscription and PTSD, And there was some person who quoted the Swiss, and they're like, "Oh, the Swiss have conscription. Are you saying they ruined their little boys and girls' mind frames?" And I'm going to ask you this honest question, Ron. Can you tell me, without Googling, the last time Switzerland went to war? Like, ballpark figure, like a full-on...
I can't tell you.
military.
I can tell you they have some of the best gun rights in the world, I think.
They do, and I'm really pro that. The last time Switzerland was in a full-on conflict was in the late 1800s. It has been close to 250 years since Switzerland has gone to war. So on the off chance that whatever fucking idiot quoted that, I'm going to say this, okay? Yes, of course conscription is fine if you never go into fucking combat. The point I was making is that it's the combat that gives you PTSD. I'd be fine, as libertarian as I am, with being conscripted if I got to run around a base, get fit as fuck for like 2 years, and work on my firearms accuracy. Hooray! And the state sponsors my ammo. Hooray!
Yeah, I think those may be the same people that don't want the government to force things on them, but yet they're willing to have conscription forced on them, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I don't think, well, I do think you should have a say whether you as an individual go to war. I mean, you should have the decision, in my opinion. I do, however, think it's probably a good idea to have some sort of something that young men need to go through for discipline.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I know back in the day, I'm not cherry-picking anything from apartheid. I don't like apartheid. I'm saying back in the day, they used to have, I think, cadets at school.
Yes, I remember hearing it.
And, like, that kind of thing taught men to kind of be men, right?
Yeah, no, that I'm not disputing at all. Also, yeah, like...
But no one should force you to go to war. I mean, I could come up to any one of these people and say, well, we're going to take your mother or your father and we're going to give them a gun and tell them to go to war.
Just
Are you going to be happy with that?
Yeah, nobody's, like, that's why... Even if they're fine, I oppose it on libertarian principle that you should have a say as to whether or not you go to war.
It's easy. It's very easy to have a say when you are not going to be influenced, you yourself.
Exactly.
And it's very easy to say, yeah, well, that person needs to do that. No, they don't.
Like, my ultimate question on this whole thread that I posed is, like, would you rather be in that sort of heyday of apartheid, or would you rather live in the United States? Because I promise you, all the factors, or most of the factors, culturally, economically, and whatever, that allowed the United States to be who it is now, would not be allowed under the Nats. Like, people were... Books... Music, all sorts of shit was just banned arbitrarily. People forget that. People forget it was literally a police state.
You want to get upset that a flag is being banned, but that's exactly what your government did back then.
It's
ban stuff.
Just used to ban stuff. And guys, honest, like, I mean, roll the dice. Like, you can go back to apartheid then, but you have to roll the dice. You may not respawn as a white man. Do you still want to go back to apartheid? Or do you want to go to 1980s America? I'd rather go to 1980s America, even if I have a 1 in 6 chance of being in one of the groups that are advantaged. Just like I would rather live in present day America, even if I could roll the dice and be reborn now, I'd rather live in present day America because I'd only have a 1 in 6 chance of being born a black man, which I'm advantaged by being a black man in current South Africa. So, you know what, guys? You keep your weird nationalistic... racially sort of thing. I'm going to go with a slightly freer society.
And you know what the beauty is of freedom? It's you and your neighbors can decide to clean your street.
Oh yeah.
That's freedom. You don't need a government to do it for you. Why don't you just do it? If you're complaining about that street, why don't you do something about it?
Yeah.
Hello.
Literally nobody's stopping you from...
Yeah. But you're willing to complain, but you won't do something about it. Look, I disagree that the government needs to take taxes from you so that they can clean the streets.
Yeah, I disagree that the government needs to take taxes from us for most things, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. I would much prefer that me and my community decide what provider we use to keep our streets clean.
Exactly.
And pay a company to frickin' do it. And if they don't do it, we fire them and get a different company to do it.
Boom. Yeah.
But no, let's rather say apartheid was better because they had clean streets.
It's
Also,
fucking
clean streets where?
yeah. Clean streets where I, I, and again, guys, I'm going to put this out because apparently people cannot hold two concepts in their head at the same time. I am not endorsing what we currently have. I am just pointing out that there was a hell of a lot of terrible shit about back then. You cherry picking one aspect and looking through rosy tinted glasses is not helping. It's just, yeah.
It's like a it's like a DA supporter, right? That's like Steenhuisen should be president, right? And I think we could agree he'll probably be a good president, but we say, okay, he'll be president, but all the corruption and all the rest stays.
Yeah.
Does that help? It doesn't help
doesn't,
anything, right?
Doesn't change it. Brilliant, yeah. It wouldn't change a damn thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, stop fucking reminiscing over shit from a long time ago. Get over it. It was fucking retarded.
It was a horrific police state, guys.
Yeah. You never had freedoms. You think you did, but did you really?
It's just...
And if you thought you had freedoms, you just don't know how much of the stuff was being pulled over your eyes. That's all.
Oh yeah, the level of media suppression was just insane. That's the other thing. We know now. There's a Childish Gambino Donald Glover skit where he talks about, like, you know, people like the old days were better. The old days is this and this, and he points out, no, they weren't. The old days sucked. You'd be in some village somewhere, and people would come through and like murder your whole town and sell you into slavery to another nation and whatever. Like nowadays, you can't do that shit because somebody will Twitter that shit, and,
Exactly.
and he's right. Like
Yeah.
you can't do shit. We now live in a society whereby if we are in public, and for some people, even if you're sitting in your fucking front yard lawn or your backyard lawn, you have to be under the assumption that you are under surveillance at all times. At all times, because somebody is going to. I mean, think about the sheer number of people who thought nobody was recording or nobody was doing X or Y, and it ends up on Twitter.
And I think there was a perfect example of that this week, right? Wasn't there? I think Wogan tweeted about it. Some chick named Annette or something was WhatsApping, obviously a colleague. And the colleague said, hey, your email is entirely in Afrikaans. I've told you I don't understand the language. Please revise.
Oh,
So I think Annette said
one.
something. Annette said something like "Ach nee man, Lindiwe, can't someone translate for you?" So Lindiwe responds is like, "The client is African. I suggest you revise for issues of transparency." And anyway, I can't remember the whole message, but essentially, this Annette chick went way too far with what she was saying, and guess what? It's on Twitter now.
There we go.
Now everyone knows you kind of useless.
There we go.
Look, I believe we should see this and we can hear it. And if you want to say something, you should be held by what you say. So actually, if that's how you are, keep saying those things so we can just know who you are so we don't associate with you. Easy.
Oh, 100%. That's why I'm almost like, listen, guys, defamation. Oh, sorry. Was it those laws where you like basically it's because you hurt somebody's feeling or you called them a racist slur or something? As much as I've in my life been called plenty of racist slurs, I actually don't think those laws should exist. Like, just let everyone know who they are, and society will deal with it naturally.
And in any case, you just know that that's someone that you don't want to associate with. Guess what?
Exactly.
I don't know if you've ever watched the movie The Patriot.
Oh yeah.
One of the best Mel Gibson movies.
It's one of the top Mel Gibson movies of all time.
Yeah, and I think
I'm surprised it hasn't been remade for like Trump's re-election campaign. Can you imagine that? They like CGI Donnie from Queen's face onto Mel Gibson's body. It's just, like
I think they have this black guy that joins the militia, and in the beginning, I think he does join by free will, But he had a slave owner, and the slave owner says, well, I'm sending him to fight for me. And they make it clear to him, well, if you fight for 12 months, you'll be a free man. But he was going to sign up anyway because he wanted to fight for American freedom. But then in the end, he carried on. He didn't just stay for the 12 months. He stayed till longer. And there's some guy that's also in the militia that keeps giving him shit, and giving him racial slurs and so on. And this guy's just like, whatever. I'm doing this for me, not for you.
Exactly.
I don't associate with you. Let's do our thing. Well, obviously in the end, because it's a movie, the guy that was giving racial slurs at the end in the last war says to him, or the last battle says to him, it's been 2 months past 12 months. You can leave. And he says, I'm not here to be a free slave. I'm here to be a free man. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, if you want to say stupid racist stuff and that's who you are, that's fine, say it, but don't expect people to like you. Like, don't get offended when people get offended with what you say.
Like if I don't invite you to my braai, like there's probably a good reason,
Yeah, exactly. And don't get offended when other people are offended by what you say, because you're telling them not to get offended, but you're getting offended. So, you know what? Shut up. Don't say stupid stuff. I know some people may say things out of sheer stupidity and in the moment.
Or
and
anger. Look, we
like,
all
I kind of
did
get
shit.
it.
We all did shit when we were young, and like that's why I say I'm like, thank God I grew up with, like, when I was like 12 years old, there was no Twitter.
Yeah.
Because there are 12-year-olds on Twitter now who will be running for office in 10 years' time, and their tweets are going to get dug up.
And everyone says stupid shit, but don't get offended when people don't want to be associate with you for saying stupid things, especially if you're an adult.
Oh yeah.
Like, we are not
If you're
kids.
a teenager and you're trying to be fucking edgy, I'm actually willing to let that slide, because your brain isn't fully developed. You're acting out. You're basically a child in an adult's body. You've got a million hormones raging. Fine. As far as I'm concerned, you're not like fully with it mentally, so I'm willing to give you some leeway. But if you're like a 35-year-old man tweeting dumb shit, it's like, okay.
Exactly, man. And it's just completely stupid. Like, today before I got on the podcast, I got into a roadblock, and I've got a expired license disc on my car. And it's a full-on roadblock. And they pull me over, and I know it's my license disc. So the officer comes up to me, he's like, where's your license? So I give him my license, and he's walking to go look at my license disc. I said, you don't have to go there, it's expired. I know it's expired. So he's like, so what's your excuse? There's no frickin' excuse. I'm an adult. I'm not going to give you an excuse. I frickin' didn't go do it. I know I should have, but I didn't. And the guy was like, you're the only person that told me that today. I'm not giving you a ticket. Just sort it out. Like,
honesty sometimes works.
Yeah, and not just that, just frickin' be polite. So why is it so difficult for people to be polite?
Okay, that is the one thing, I'll point out in the libertarian movement that pisses me off. It's like this almost irrational, hostile anger towards every single cop on planet Earth. I get it, guys. I've read the arguments why police are basically warlords in and unto themselves and blah, blah, blah. And I've been screwed over by some unscrupulous police. But guess what? You being a dick to literally every cop is not going to help the situation. It's really not.
Yeah, and to be fair, you probably interact with less than 1% of the whole population of cops out there. So you can't base your experience on,
It's a little. It's
you don't want people
concept,
to do that
guys.
to you. You don't want people to do that to you and say that you're a land thief or you rape woman. What was that thing that was going around with Helen Ziller? You don't want those stereotypes. So why do you treat cops the same way? And I know a few people that are always pissed off when they get pulled over. And you know what? If I've done something, I'll be pissed off if I haven't done anything wrong and I get pulled over and they're trying to get something from me. But for the most part, I've never been in a situation with a cop where it was unpleasant. I've always most of the time not gotten a fine just from being
Not a
courteous.
dick.
Yeah, just
Just
from being
not be a
courteous.
dick.
And you know what? They are humans as well, and they understand. This the same cop today probably thought to himself, yeah, I've done that probably plenty times with my own car, or my wife's done that, or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, but don't make a stupid excuse and then get upset when you get a fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's 100%, dude. Like, I mean, look, I
Also,
have,
don't
yeah,
bribe cops.
yeah.
Just saying,
Can,
guys,
yeah.
unless your life's in danger, don't bribe cops.
Yeah, I've part of move. I've sort of resolved that also now. Just like that's why I Uber everywhere. Like no drunk driving. Like don't bribe cop. If they're trying to solicit a bribe from me, I'm just like no, just give me the ticket,
Yeah, I do
dude.
that
Like
as well.
if my license disc is expired or whatever, just give me the ticket. Like
I
I'm
mean,
not.
many years ago, uh, man, I think I was just out of school. I was driving on my way to the Vol. I think it was over Easter weekend. I was going to spend the weekend there. And I was speeding a bit. I think I was doing like 150 and on the 120 zone. So I get pulled over by a cop. And the cop's like, what's your reason for speeding? Dude, I was just speeding. There's no excuse. Give me a ticket, whatever. The guy never wanted a bribe or anything. He was just like, okay, well, I'm giving you a ticket for the speed. And anyway, we start chatting. And I get out my car and we're busy chatting. And he puts his little book that he writes all the tickets in on the back of my bakkie. And we probably spoke for about 20 minutes anyway.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Eventually he's like, no, he has to get back to work and I probably need to get where I need to be. And I was like, okay, no, that's fine. And I started driving and about 4, 5, 6 kilometers down the road, I realized it's like all these papers are flying out the back of my bakkie. And it turns out he left the book there.
Oh,
So everyone who got a fine that day, you can thank me later. You know,
oof. That
you
that
never
is
you
like
never
a
received the
preemptive
fine.
no scripture gift to all of you people. Like, just I'm annexing that like retroactively. Like that's our gift to everyone.
Yeah, man. Jeez, it was so. I was like, wow, I don't even have the fine anymore.
That dude
Um,
was probably in so much shit when he got like when he realized
yeah, but the thing is, at the end of the day, we were just chatting, and
he was in so
obviously
much shit.
he was tired of holding it, so he just put it on the back of my backy, and yeah, so he lost all those fines for the day. But I'm sure it was like in the afternoon, so I'm sure there were quite a number of written up tickets there.
I just like I'm trying to imagine how he's gonna explain that to his like police chief.
Yeah, I lost it.
I lost it.
I wonder. I don't know. I don't know if he realized. Wait, did I leave it on the back of his backy? And now he has none of my details because everything was written in that book. So it's not like he could phone me or find me or whatever.
Or track you down in any way or form.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of got out that ticket even though I got a ticket.
Wow, nice. That's quite the win there. So, yeah. Oh,
Also, always be nice to
always be
your
nice. Always be polite, guys. Like honestly,
yeah,
even when it irks you.
especially to your designated firearms officer
Oh yeah.
in your
Oh yeah.
area.
That's for sure.
That guy will do things for you.
Or make things difficult for you.
I must say, everyone that I've dealt with in different police precincts, generally the DFO is,
Stand up.
yeah, pretty
Cop.
stand up. If there's an issue, they try and find out. They can't control how long your license takes. It's not in their control, but they try and help out as much as possible.
For our international audience, Ron and I are talking about when we say designated firearms officer, is that here in South Africa we have the kind of gun control that would make Bernie Sanders cream himself. Like, you basically have to write a firearms legal license, so the legal bit where it tells you legally when you're allowed to shoot somebody and
It's
how
like a
you
law
should.
exam,
So
basically.
it's a mini law exam just
Yeah.
for around handling your firearm. Then you have to write a physical competency test, and then you have to write. So part of
And a
me is,
practical. You got to do the practical as well, yeah.
yeah, part of me is sort of like, yeah, okay, you should know legally when you're allowed to shoot somebody. That bit I'm kind of like, okay, I don't.
And you should know how to handle a firearm.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, the competency. Like, you should know how to handle the firearm you're having. The part that really, really sandpapers my balls is then after all that, I now have to, we have a giant central firearms registry. So the government knows where all our guns are, supposedly. There's some argument there depending on how competent they are and all the firearms that go quote unquote missing, but let's not get into that. Let's say technically the government knows where all our firearms are. So they have a central firearms registry, and you have to write a whole motivation as to why you need a firearm. And after all that, you can still get denied if they don't think your motivation is good enough. And you have to get it renewed every 5 years. So those are the parts that sandpaper my balls, based on the fact that I think I believe that I have the natural right to defend myself with whatever tool is of the time. If we were 500 years ago, I should have the right to a sword. Now I should have the right to a gun, or as many guns as I like.
And you are only allowed a certain number of firearms as well in certain categories. So
exactly,
you can't own a Glock and a CZ handgun unless one is for hunting and one is for self-defense. Or maybe sports shooting. You may have one for sports shooting, but especially in handguns, it's very rare to have more than one handgun.
Yeah.
But we are allowed to own quite a lot of firearms, but the process is just ridiculous. And you need, belong to a sports shooting association if you want to own like a semi-automatic rifle.
Exactly.
And need
that's
to
what I think is bullshit. I should be allowed to own whatever gun I want.
Exactly. So I personally have 4 firearms.
Because you're in a
one
sports
one
shooting.
handgun and three rifles.
You've got what's your semi-auto rifle?
Oh, I'm still waiting for my semi-auto. It's a AR that I got.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the license on that. So it's been almost a year.
Yeah, I'm still doing the process for my AR.
So I still have to go do the sports shooting and everything just so I can get the status and keep the status, so that they don't just deny me for not having an active sports shooting status.
Which, again, I think is bullshit. You should be allowed, if you want to be part of a sports shooting society, fine. But the whole rigmarole behind this is ridiculous.
All it is
I want a rifle.
Like,
I have no criminal record. I don't have a record of drinking and driving or beating my wife or anything violent. Please, I'm just going to buy this rifle. Here, I've passed the competency. I know the legality behind it. Done. That's what I would like to have.
Yeah, and we're also limited to the amount of ammunition we're allowed to carry. So if you have a gun for self-defense, you're only allowed 200 rounds.
Correct, yeah, 200 rounds. Handgun self-defense, 200 rounds.
Yeah. But if you have dedicated sports shooter status, you're allowed to have unlimited rounds.
People think 200 rounds is a lot.
It's
in
not.
an hour at the range, I can
easy.
pop off 200 rounds easily.
Easy, very easy.
My Smith & Wesson's a 17 round plus one in the chamber, 18. That's just under 10% of my total amount that I can have in one session of firing from one fully loaded magazine.
Yeah. I always load them 10 at a time when I'm at the range, but I generally shoot at 200 rounds at the range in an hour.
Exactly.
So 200 rounds is not a lot. Also, it's very difficult to have a variety of ammunition because when you buy rounds, you're buying maybe 25 or 50 at a time.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's also difficult to have a variety.
Also, they keep selling everywhere I find good full range ammo. It's the grainage is way too low all the time recently. I don't know why, but they sell really low grainage full metal jacket ammunition for some reason. We're in Pretoria the last couple of months. I don't know. Maybe
I find if you go to really good ranges, it's generally fine. But then you'll go to a range that reload themselves, and they do a really shitty job of it, and half the ammunition doesn't work.
Fucking annoying.
Yeah. I once had got reloads, and one of the rounds in the reloads was a 9mm short,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously fits in my kind of fits in my chamber. So I fired the round, and my gun didn't recycle. And I was like, "What's going on here?" Realizing, oh, they put a 9mm short in here. I
Oh
was like, I could
shit!
have really screwed up my gun with this round.
Shit,
I was really upset that day.
dude.
And
That
since
is
then, if I buy range rounds, I buy decent, proper
yeah,
reloads. I don't take what the gun range do themselves.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's a thing. Oh, by the way, another piece of fun Twitter trash. Well, not trash, but have you Googled hashtag Get the Gat challenge?
Get the gat.
Challenge. It has to do with guns since we're talking about guns. So there's this hashtag Get the Gat or Get the Gat challenge, and it's going. Obviously, I follow a lot of American Twitter accounts, and I follow a lot of American college sports. So Get the Gat is from this song. I can't remember the rapper name. He's a fucking SoundCloud rapper. Who cares? He is, bro. Like he's a
Noscript shows also a SoundCloud podcast.
Yeah, but we're not trying. Like this is our hobby. Like this is
It's probably his hobby as well.
no, right? He's about to blow up. He's got the anyway. It's a song called "Get the Gat," where the song is just he's talking about getting the gat, getting his gun, and but it's in a sort of happy, hoppy sort of tune, weirdly enough. And you know, people are just doing little dance moves where they pretend shooting guns and moving around. And recently, shout out to, by the way, Louisiana State University. The Louisiana State University Tigers beat and I don't know why these two colleges so close to each other have the same animal mascot, beat the Clemson Tigers, South Carolina Clemson University Tigers, in the national championships for football. The Louisiana State Tigers had the perfect season, 0 losses. And
Nice.
they went to the White House, of course. Donnie from Queens, and of course Donnie from Queens was like, "Yeah, we don't normally do this, but we'll take some photos behind the Resolute desk. There's
I
been a
think
lot
I'm
of
seeing that
presidents
right now.
and he's like, "There's been a lot of presidents, some good, some not so good, but you got a good one now, so let's take a picture." That's such a Donnie from Queens thing.
It looks like they were having fun at the White House, dude. I can see them all having a good time there.
Bruh, it's like Biff from Back to the Future as the president of the US. But so they started doing that little dance there, and that started trending. And then, I don't know if you've seen the video, but there's some random blonde girl at the start of the video.
Yeah, I see that. I see that now. Let me see
And
that.
everyone's like, they hit that. They hit that. And I feel bad for this chick, because this chick
I can see. Yeah.
it's like they took pictures of it and they're like Blacks.com. For those of you who don't know Blacks.com, it is a particular brand of pornographic material whereby black men have intercourse with white women. Anyway, they put like the Black.com icon on there. And look, no, shout out to Jamie Bordelon. That's her name, Jamie Bordelon. She's the wife of a legendary football player of LSU, Ben Bordelon. So that's why she was there, because they have close ties with the team. Shout out to her though, because that Becky got them moves, bruh. She threw that thing.
Yeah, it looks like she went for it, dude.
That was amazing. But it was just, I love that I live in a timeline now where people are doing Get the Gat challenge in the White House. Like, there's, say what you will about our current situation, but that's just, that's chef kiss brilliant. Like,
Damn. Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
that is amazing. That's so great. Yeah, so that's I think the totality of US politics at the moment, except for Cory Booker has dropped out of the race for president.
It's about damn time. I thought
Mr.
he did. Did you watch the last debate?
I didn't,
Dude.
but I saw the highlights. Elizabeth Snake Warren
and Bernie Sanders.
Okay, let me
This is the first time I actually felt sorry for Bernie Sanders, and I know he's a
I hate
Marxist socialist. But
You people
damn,
are making me defend Bernie fucking Sanders.
that's how bad it is. Yeah.
This is how fucking shit you people are. I'm defending Bernie Sanders. This is where we are now. So, yeah, for those of you who don't know, Bernie, the USSR was great. I want pudding. Sanders was accused by one of Elizabeth Warren's reps of, at some point during a debate, during a meeting, she mentioned that he said, "Oh, I don't think a woman could win president in the current environment." And first of all, of all the people who would say something along the lines of, "I don't think a woman could win," I think Bernie Sanders is somewhere near the absolute fucking bottom. Okay?
Exactly, yeah.
Bernie Sanders is so far to the left, so incredible social justice-y. He let people take over and talk and shout about Black Lives Matter at his own rally. Okay? Bernie Sanders is literally the type of guy who in school lunch would be like, in the lunch line at school, would like pay for black kids, if he had money of his own, to have lunch, to pay for reparations. Believe me, Bernie Sanders is the last person on the list I would think would ever say a woman can't run for president. What I think actually happened, and this is what I suspect, is that he may have offhandedly mentioned saying something to the effect of, Trump will go hard in on a woman. Something to that effect. But I don't think he ever said a woman can't be president. Not Bernie Sanders.
And when they asked him the question, he had a really good response to it.
Yeah.
And then, like, completely denying it, and you can totally believe what he's saying. And then the very next question is to Elizabeth Warren, and how did you feel when Bernie said this?
Yes, exactly,
like,
exactly.
But I never said that.
Yeah, he just denied it. It would be like if I asked you, did you steal that money from Jeff? And you're like, no, I didn't. It's not on me, and it's just. And then I turn to Jeff and say, so Jeff, how do you feel about him stealing your money? Like.
Exactly, dude. It was so bad. Like, I actually
shout-outs,
defending Bernie Sanders. I would have never thought that.
We are defending a septuagenarian fucking loonbag socialist commie. Like, do you understand? Like, that's the level of our discourse now. That's where we are, guys. Shout out to Tulsi Gabbard, who said she met with him as well, and he never said anything to that effect. Tulsi Gabbard, who, by the way, shout outs to her for voting present during the impeachment in the House.
Yes, that's all, yeah.
And the two other Democrats who voted against the articles, I can't remember. But, yeah.
But the articles have now been submitted, right?
Yes. Now,
the Senate.
Guys, I'm just going to point this out here. I'm going to waste like maybe 10 seconds on impeachment, mostly because I think it's a gigantic waste of fucking time. Two things about impeachment. One, nothing screams weakness and we don't think we can beat him harder than pushing for impeachment this close to an election. You're a couple of months out from an election. If you want him out, just beat him. Just vote him out. That's it. But sure, whatever. And the other thing is, first of all, Tulsi Gabbard and I think like 2 or 3 other people in the Democrat House didn't vote for full articles of impeachment. So you didn't even get 100% of your own side voting for impeachment in the House, which you have a massive majority in right now. How do you think it's going to go when it moves up to the Senate, where there's a massive Republican majority, and there is Trump said 95% approval rate in the Republican Party?
Exactly.
Do you know what they need mathematically to get
2/3? I think they need 2/3 right?
to get impeachment. They need I think something like 10 or 15 Democrat senators to defect. And say yes. Well, first of all, they need every Republican senator to say yes, impeach, and they need they need every single Democrat to say impeach, and they need 15 Republican senators to say impeach. Do you think 15 Senate Republicans are going to vote to impeach Donald Trump right now? Do you really think that?
It was never a bipartisan process, so it would never have a bipartisan vote.
Yeah.
So it's just a huge waste of time, smoke mirrors, let's try and rattle Donald Trump. But now what they've actually done is, if the Senate is clever about it, or the Republicans are clever about it, they will drag this out as long as possible, so that Bernie Sanders and Adam Schiff and Pocahontas can spend a lot of time in the Senate, as opposed to rallying for the vote.
Yeah, rallying for the vote. So there's
and
that.
I think that's probably what's going to happen. They're going to drag it out. These guys are going to need to be in DC or wherever the Senate is in DC for as long as possible, because they have to be there during the proceedings.
Yeah. So that's not
while
going
Donald
very
Trump
well.
can go and rally wherever he wants, while you guys are wasting your time in the Senate.
I cannot wait to watch the president
for something that they
do-
know is not going to pass. So you cannot tell me they really believe he's going to get impeached. There's no way.
not sure. Do you know how many Americans actually thought when it passed in the House that he was impeached and he was no longer president? I've had to explain this to so many Americans. I'm not American, and I know your political system better than you guys.
Exactly. That's what I don't understand. Like, actually, there was actually something really funny. You know the game show Jeopardy?
Yes.
So they had a show in the week, and it was someone alluding to the fact that general Americans don't know politics and don't know who's in politics, right?
100%.
And they had a picture of Adam Schiff, and it says he's the Intel Committee, whatever, whatever, whatever. And you're supposed to respond, who is Adam Schiff? None of the contestants knew who he was.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh.
None of them.
Oh, that's lovely. That's great.
So
That's
and that just shows you how, I mean, these are people that are really good at general knowledge and knowing things, right? You can't just play Jeopardy.
Yeah.
But you don't even know who Adam Schiff is. And they don't even know how their own legal processes work.
Yeah.
They don't know, they don't know what the House is and what the Senate is.
Or the three branches of government.
Exactly.
Which is the legislative, the executive, which is the president, and the judicial, which is the Supreme Court.
Yeah, exactly. So
neither of us Americans, guys. Like, if it's not that hard to know.
And that just proves the point why the polls were so wrong so many years ago with Donald Trump, because actually, you think, I mean, CNN have been going on about impeachment for how long now?
Oh, God.
And people don't even know who Adam Schiff is. Who's the person who started it with the whistleblower?
It's just, yeah.
So do you even know who the people of America are? It's really strange.
It's strange. Well, our local politics isn't doing too much greater either. Do you want to comment on old John Steenhuisen and his accusation of the VF Plus?
That was such a brain fart. Such a brain fart, dude. Like I can agree that they are not the same as the DA, but to equate them to the EFF in extremism, number one. Number two, they lost a lot of votes to the Freedom Front.
Oh yeah,
there was that you just made sure that you don't get those votes back.
Oh yeah. Look, there was that thing in what was it? The recent election in the Northwest, where the DA just got absolutely fucking
hammered.
Like, this was brutal shit. Like, holy shit. And this is with, by the way, the Deus Ex Machina, Helen Ziller being back. This is with your Deus Ex Machina, and you're still bleeding votes. This is with, Gwen, your Deus Ex Machina being back. Maybe it's not the people that are there. Maybe it's the dumbass shit you keep doing. So
it's because they have no message, dude. And you can say what you want about the Freedom Front. They always have the same message. Yeah. Always.
Look,
and the DA, one week they have this message, the next week they have that message. I mean, remember when they were talking about BEE? Like, no one knew what page the DA was on it. Like some of their politicians were saying, no, we agree with it, and others were saying, no, we don't agree. We agreed that we don't agree with it.
What the fuck
So
does that even mean?
yeah. So what is
The
the
fuck does
resolution?
that even mean? That's like when your girlfriend says, "I need some me time," and you've been apart for like 2 months. Like, bitch, like what? No.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'm just gonna go get a new girlfriend then. Like,
Yeah, dude, like I don't think that is the way they should be going about this.
no,
And
I think they're gonna keep hemorrhaging, and they're gonna, and I think at this point, the way things are going, they're going to get even worse results at the next local elections.
well, definitely, if they carry on doing what they're doing, then
Because
that's going to
I'll
happen.
tell you what, the really conservative Afrikaners never voted for them to start with. The slightly more liberal Afrikaners have sort of dissipated into the VF Plus or some other party somewhere else. You
Yeah.
know, Cope or whatever. Who knows? They've disappeared there, and a lot of the sort of black centrists will probably vote for Cope or whatever party Mashava starts. Especially if
The one you said he wasn't going to start.
I will admit, I was actually. You know what? I'm glad you brought this up because I've been meaning to do this. Right? I will admit that I was wrong when I said that he wasn't going to start a party. However, I would like a giant apology from every single political analyst who said that he was a secret EFF shill, a secret part. The dude's a self-made fucking billionaire.
Yeah,
There's nothing.
I never said that about him. I just said,
No. I'm not saying you, but
No,
you know,
no, I
there's
know.
a ton of people online who are like, he's definitely in their pot. Who do you think
course,
Julius
yeah.
Malema can give Herman Mashaba enough money to make it? The
Never.
dude's a self-made billionaire. He's one of the few people in the country who has the testicular fortitude to be pro strong borders, which I'm very pro. So I'll admit I got that part wrong, but I was definitely right about him not being a secret EFF shill. Yes, because a man who's pro strong borders, who's given like
Capitalism.
who's given away government buildings while he was still mayor to private industries to develop them in Joburg, to private companies to develop them for housing and whatever. That just screams socialism, right, guys? Or maybe these analysts were wrong. And the thing is, I know none of them will have the testicular fortitude to say that they were wrong. In fact, most of them have just gone on to start talking about some other prognostication. So, you know, this is just me saying a big old fuck you were wrong. Fuck you, I was right. Yeah, but we can move on. Yeah. So, as I was saying, I think the centrists will move on to his party, or a lot of the black vote will move there, or to Cope, or whatever, whoever doesn't want to vote DA or ANC. And they're going to continue hemorrhaging votes.
And there's also a very big misconception that the Freedom Front don't have black and colored vote, because they actually have a big colored vote.
Look, to be fair, they did
Look,
initially start their initial
of
roots.
Of course, they've got more white than anything else.
Of course,
I can't
to
disagree
be
with that.
fair to what's his name, Ronaldo, he's right in that their initial starting point was a white Afrikaner folk start. That's what they wanted.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
That's fine. That's a fair point there to Ronaldo.
But that's a very big difference to extremism and pretty much being like the EFF that's saying we should murder all these people in our country.
Yeah.
And when you're murdering someone, why are you murdering your brothers when you should be murdering the land thieves?
Yeah.
Like, how is that okay to say? What about you shouldn't be murdering at all?
Yeah, let's start there.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, makes no sense. But anyway, to me, that was a huge brain fart, and I lost a lot of respect for Steenhuisen for saying that.
I think, I think the DA is deader than disco at this point. There's a chance they might, pull a Rocky Balboa. Right, Rocky Balboa. Get up, Rocky, and start punching again. But I'm just like, nah. Even with your Deus Ex Machina characters, you're still not pulling much weight. So, yeah, I think you're done.
And what do you think about Helen Ziller retweeting Germ's what was that cartoon?
Oh, that cartoon.
You know the
I
cartoon.
was mostly indifferent to it, to be honest. Um, Look, I'm no Helen Ziller fan. That's pretty apparent, but I don't think she deserved some of the flack and the rage she got. I think as she said, the fur raging was quite manufactured. I think there's a lot of things about her that I don't like and I disagree with, but I think in that instance that she didn't deserve that sort of flack. On the other hand, she does know who she is, and I think at times she also sort of skirts the line a little bit with some of her tweets. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't think anyone has a problem with anyone being who they are, as long as we can see who they are, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll know if we want to be with them or not, or support them. Um, but yeah, Helen's tweet to me wasn't that bad. Number one, it wasn't bad at all. She was clearly talking about stereotypes. That's number one. And number two, we got a new word from it, right? Forks raging.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it being used much, but I hear there's a new word.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of new words and things, I just want to give a huge shout out to hashtag Save Cricket Grandpa.
What's going on there?
I don't know if you see that, but
I do see that he's very involved.
Old Marius Roots.
Yeah.
My nigga Marius Roots, bruh. He's just like an old. I mean, he's not old, but he's an older gentleman. I mean, like, no offense, Marius, if you hear this, but I mean, we can see them grey specks, bruh. Let's just be real. And he's no man. I'm being realistic, and he's always tweeting these super high pressure tweets about cricket. Like, and I was just like, man is pushing on in years. Like, he can't afford the strain on his heart. So I'm appealing to all of you to tweet the hashtag Save Cricket Grandpa. Let's maybe get him a vacation, play him some VHS tapes of South Africa winning at cricket, like just so that he can like
no
Mans
World Cups, no World Cup
footage
videos, but yeah,
maybe that day, the 348 day, where we made that massive comeback.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah, just something, just so the Mans can sort of.
And just in time for the government to launch their new, well, I think they have a new legislation that they're trying to push through, which is effectively nationalizing all sports. I don't know if you saw that.
Of course, because that'll go swimmingly.
So they will have control in who gets picked, all those kind of things. That is really bad news. Besides, if that does happen, we probably wouldn't compete in any World Cups or anything like that, or any big competitions, because I think most sporting bodies around the world disapprove of nationalized teams.
Yeah.
So if that does happen, we probably wouldn't compete.
Yeah. And then everybody loses.
Exactly. So fuck government. Leave everything alone. Do what you need to do, which is make sure our police are good and you can give some healthcare to some people. But stop getting involved in things that really don't matter right now.
Exactly.
Like, why would you be worrying about this legislation when you have an unemployment rate that's one of the highest in the world?
Fuck that. The border. Yeah.
Like, there are so many things we need to worry about, and you are worried about who gets picked on a frickin' cricket team or rugby team. Like, come on.
Like, bruh, it's just...
Who made you guys sports experts?
It's like I keep saying, and I said this most recently on the Man Patriot show. By the way, shout out to Man Patriot and Duma and the Man Patriot crew.
Shout out, Dumo. I know I haven't seen you in a while, man. I think the last time I saw you was at the Rand Club.
Yeah.
That was like last year sometime.
Yeah. So we need to like organize another crossover. Also with the North South podcast guys. Shout out Darren and Asta. But I was on Man Patriot and I pointed out, I keep saying this, guys. America is like a 90% white country. Their entire Olympic basketball team is like 8 super tall black guys and 2 white guys in reserve. Nobody gives a fuck about representation when they are beasting on the world. When America's playing Olympic basketball, you're competing to come second. I'm just like, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, the state are Marxists and they need to control everything, so we know why it's happening. But also, didn't the health minister say that private hospitals under the NHI will be like public hospitals? Isn't that a brain fart for trying to endorse
so
the
horrifying.
NHI?
That is so horrifying. And by the way, socialized healthcare failed in Britain as well. Like their national health thing is kind of imploding right now. It's not very much talked about, but it's kind of imploding.
Ramon had a good theory.
Actually, shout out to him and his morning shot show. I actually listened to a couple of episodes. He has actually had some
in
fair
one of
comment.
his morning shot shows, he spoke about it, that maybe the government's doing a turnaround on it, so they're trying to give it bad publicity. I really hope that is the case.
Look,
like making it sound bad, so people will be like, yeah, we don't want that. I don't know if that's the case. If that is the case, I'd be very happy.
Look, at the end of the day, and I had this chat with Conscious Caracal. Shout out to man Conscious Caracal when we were having our braai. He pointed out brilliantly that the Germans, East Germany, couldn't make socialism work. The Germans, the most efficient, cold, efficient human beings that God ever conceived, couldn't make socialism work. If they couldn't, none of us can. Okay, I promise you. Okay? It's like a line of coke. If Charlie Sheen can't snort it, nobody else can fucking survive it. I promise you guys, none of us can make it work.
The thing is, why do I want to work harder than you if we're going to have the same?
Exactly.
What's the point? I might as well also just sit at home and do nothing if I'm going to get what you're getting. There's no incentive for me to employ people. There's no incentive for me to build anything new or innovate, because it's not worth the effort.
Exactly.
That's how simple socialism is. It's not worth the effort.
Everything like that's. I've heard various people pushing socialism come up with answers to X and Y, and they're kind of but you're not quite hitting the point here. But the one thing none of them can ever answer is, why would I work harder than you, do better than you, if we're going to get the same reward? Why?
Not just that. You write exams, obviously. So do I. Because you're still studying. And what if I told you, well, everyone in the class is just going to get the class average?
I would be like, fuck it then.
Would you be incentivized to study?
No.
Because you can study as hard as you want, but still get a frickin' 64.
Exactly.
No, there's just no incentive to do well. That's why it's also bad to give participation trophies, guys. Stop giving participation trophies.
I know. Honestly,
my cousin got one the other day.
I hate that shit. That shit. Participation trophies are the friend zone of awards. Like, honestly, it's fucking terrible. Stop.
So we are just rewarding people being mediocre. Why? What? They've got no reason to do better in what they do or become the best in what they do because they get the same reward, and it's just stupid.
Yeah. So that's me. Like, I'm done with participation. Oh, by the way, one resolution I've made this year for Twitter-related things is that I'm going to limit my response to goofy-ass niggas. Like, I don't care if you've got 10 followers or 10 million followers. If you make an obvious bad faith reply to one of my tweets or quote it in a bad faith way, that's obvious, or you're just being a fucking goofy-ass clout-chasing nigga, you're not going to get a reply from me. Whether you have 10 followers, 10 million, whether we're best friends, whatever. Like, I mean, obviously, if you and I are just kidding around, but if it's somebody, like, being obviously malicious, I'm just going to try let it go. Just, yeah.
And you're welcome to do that. I'll just watch as they cry because you're not responding. Because some people get very emotional on Twitter for no frickin' reason.
When you don't reply, like, I'm not required to reply.
Also, I've got a life. I don't wait for your message to come in.
Yeah, I'm doing work. Just FYI, that's the other thing. Like, because people see you, me, Conscious Caracal, everyone else on the internet, podcasts and all that, they don't realize we have lives and jobs and things to do and, all that crap.
I run a business. I don't have time to go on Twitter. Look, some days I'll be on Twitter for a lot of the day because I'm just feeling lazy that day. But I'm actually not on social media. Even if you look at my Facebook, I think the last time I put something on Facebook was like months ago.
Same. Maybe even a good year ago.
So, yeah, we are all doing things because we like to make some money. And if we just are on Twitter all day, we're going to be useless.
Sweet, sweet cash. Yeah, I think that's a good resolution. I think we've gone for a while, but we do owe them an extra long episode, seeing as we've been so away from so long. I do have one tech topic in that, or just one reminder, and that is we are 1 year away from the James Webb Telescope, which is just amazing. The James Webb Telescope is a telescope that we have, or that the Western world or the United States has sort of put together, and it's, as far as I know, it's actually making it the main parts are making their way down through the Panama Canal as we speak to their launch point. And the whole point of this James Webb Telescope is to just take Hubble and put it on steroids so that we can see with greater definition further away into the universe and with greater definition close to us, because as I often say, and people don't realize, even if there was a civilization within a couple of hundred light years away from us that was at our level of technological advancement, we wouldn't be able to detect them simply because of factors like the diminishing returns with square root laws, when you need like 4 times as much power to push a signal twice as far into space, or 4 times as much power to detect that signal. So even though we are able to look at the universe and a lot of stars and stuff, we can't really look at them. I mean, we can detect sort of gas signatures or whatever, but we can't really detect things in great detail because of the limit of how much power and of our definition of telescope. So that's going to be cool. That's something I'm looking forward for.
Nice.
Yeah.
And even the photos we get back from Hubble take a long time to get to us.
Oh yeah.
So
you keep forgetting the light lag, especially if you look very far and deep into the universe. You're waiting for that light, to get to you. So yeah.
Well, I have no tech topics this week. The year's just started. There'll be new tech. That's what I assume.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, isn't it now officially Windows 7 is now finished? No more updates.
I think that's your TF title. Rip to the legend, right? Rest in peace.
How great was Windows 7, dude?
Let's go back to Windows 7 just for a second. And also, I think it's a damn cheek of Microsoft to stop supporting Windows 7 when you know damn well there are nuclear submarines in the US arsenal running Windows XP. Get off your fucking high horse and keep supporting Windows 7. Come on.
Well, Windows XP hasn't been supported for a long time. And let me tell you something.
Submarines
a lot of banks and their ATMs still run on Windows XP.
Yeah. So, there's that. But you know what? Us peasants, we have to give up our Windows 7.
Yeah, look, I haven't used it in years, but I loved Windows 7. That to me was the best OS.
I use it for like my entertainment box at home. Like it's just running like all the media and all that hooked up to my TV, and that's it.
No more security updates. Someone is gonna hack your box there and demand some money for your movies.
The only thing they can demand is money for all my porn from high school. So I mean, there's that.
Do you at least have a backup for it?
Of course, bro. Well,
I'm not, then it doesn't matter.
I'm a grown professional here. Come on.
Yes, guys, that's another PSA. Update your freaking stuff and
update your stuff and update your. Okay, as a software engineer, I would just like to point out we do not write these updates for fun. I just like. it irritates me to no
Yeah,
end that
and
people
back up your stuff, because
yes,
antiviruses and all these things only exist for things that they know, or for um, malware and viruses that they've uncovered and they build a fix for it or something to
exactly.
identify it. Every day there are new viruses and malware coming out that antiviruses cannot do anything about because they don't know of them yet. So always back up your stuff.
Precisely, precisely. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's me for the week. Unless there's anything you want to chat about real
No,
quick.
dude, that's me as well. This was a good chat. It's been a while.
Yeah. Thanks for being back. Yeah, we're gonna push the show, and we're gonna. Oh, I guess we'll have to mention that you can find us at noscriptshow.com, where you can find the links to the show on all the platforms. iTunes, if you're a degenerate, or any other platform if you're not a degenerate.
I use iTunes, man. What's going on here?
Awkward moment here. No, I'm playing. So you can find the links there, and you can find a link to our Discord. Join in on some Noscript gaming. I can't guarantee how good I am at Overwatch and Destiny and all those other games right now because I haven't gamed in a while. And I think I will post my Nintendo friend tag because I also game on my Switch. If you want to join me on like Mario Kart or Ninja Storm or any of those games. So yeah, that's me.
Nice, dude. Well, thanks for the chat.
Cheers, man. I will see you next week. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Cheers, dude.